All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, appreciate everybody being here. Welcome aboard. My name's Andrew David. This is the High Performance Call with Blake Newbar, the partner program, Monday through Friday, noon Eastern time, live here. Now, on the calls, we go over a lot of different things. I wanted to talk today. One of the most important things that you can do in your journey as an entrepreneur, if you want to achieve success, is study what others that have achieved that success have already done, right? There's this great quote by Warren Buffett. There's a guy that I follow named Eric Thomas. He's E.T. the hip hop preacher. Absolutely fantastic guy. A lot of you would really enjoy his stuff. Well, one time he was talking with Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett was talking about what he was reading at that moment were financial reports from Ford Motor Company from like 1959 or 1960 or something, right? And here we are 40 years later, 50 years later, longer. And Eric Thomas turns to Warren and he says, why are you studying Ford Motor stuff from, the late 50s, early 60s? And he says, because they were profitable then. They were successful. So I'm studying to find out what they were doing, right? There are some amazing biographies out there of highly successful individuals, and studying other people's lives, I really enjoy it. I like seeing other people's stories. I like seeing what they've overcome, what they've done. Today, I wanted to talk about an individual. Her name is Sara Blakely. How many of you guys have heard of Sara Blakely? Anybody? No? How many of you guys have heard of Spanx?
I've heard of Sara Blakely.
Spanx.
Yes.
Right? Some of the guys don't want to admit that they've heard of them. And heck, we may have some guys that don't want to admit they wear them. But Spanx. Right? Yeah. So, story about Sara Blakely. I think it's just such a cool story what she did. So this is a picture of her out of college. Sara began selling fax machines, to businesses around the Southeast. I want to say she was in Georgia. So she's going out. That's what she's doing. She's selling fax machines, right? Years ago, obviously. So quick little background on her and Spanx and what happened. So Spanx, Sara Blakely founded it. She founded it at age 27 in 98, fashion and apparel. Now does an annual revenue of 250 million, 100 employees. Not bad statistics, right? Rocking and rolling. Here's a couple more stats about it. In 1998, she started Spanx while selling fax machines. She had $5,000. In 99, her first full year, she hit 4 million. Okay. She got her product, distributed. Man, I love my spelling sometimes. Into Neiman Marcus. Oprah named Spanx one of her favorite products. She hits 10 million in revenue. It's featured on QVC. In 2013, she becomes a billionaire. Here's a cool thing about her. So it starts with the idea, the manufacturer, and the patent. So she said she had just moved out of her mom's house. She's dating, in her words, she's dating a loser. She's got $5,000 in the bank. She comes up with this idea because she had a party to go to. She was tired of the underclothing that women had to wear. She didn't like how it looked, how it felt. It was uncomfortable, all of these different elements. So what she did is she went out and she took a pair of beige or nude color pantyhose. She cut the feet off and used those underneath a pair of pants. She said it felt great. She said she looked better. And she felt fantastic during it, but she struggled throughout the night having to continue because the pants kept kind of rolling up. The pants side of it kept rolling up her legs and frustrated her a little bit. She said, there's got to be something better. There's got to be a way to do this. She looked around. There was nothing like it that was on the market, right? So she had this idea. She's going to go out and she's going to do this. So what does she need to do if you're starting something new? Now, you guys may not be there, but understanding the whole development of the story, I think it's so interesting to me. So she decides she's got to develop this out. So what does she have to do? First thing she's got to do is she needs a patent. She needs a manufacturer. Well, she's in Georgia. She finds out that almost all the manufacturers of hosiery in the U.S. are located in North Carolina for some reason. So she starts calling all of these manufacturers and she goes, hi, my name's Sara. This is what I want to do. And she keeps getting hung up on a lot. Months and months of calling up on her, where she's not getting to the right person. She's not able to get through at all. While she's doing that, she figures she needs to come up with a patent. And she says, I want a woman to help me patent this because they're going to understand it better, but I need a patent on this. So she looks and looks and looks. She can't find a female attorney in the state of Georgia that does patent law. She couldn't find one. She calls the Chamber of Commerce, Georgia Chamber of Commerce. Georgia Chamber of Commerce says there is no female attorney in the whole state of Georgia that does patent law at this time. So now she's got to go around. She starts looking elsewhere. She's laughed out of a handful of other attorneys' offices because they just don't get it. What a strange concept. Men just don't get what women really need, right? What a big surprise. But she understood her target market. So she kept going. Then, because she still needs a manufacturer, she got in her car and she drove to North Carolina and started meeting people. And she'd walk in and go up to the receptionist and she'd say, hi. And the receptionist would say, can I help you? Yes, I am Sara Blakely. I need to speak with someone in the manufacturer. Who are you here on behalf of? Sara Blakely. And you are funded by, who is your funding backing? Sara Blakely. Because it was 100% her. And typically she was either laughed out or she couldn't get a meeting. Now, eventually she gets into an attorney's office. She said with one of them, she's giving the idea and the guy keeps looking around the room and he ends up telling her later, a while later, he says, when you first came in, the idea seemed so ridiculous to me. I kept looking around for hidden cameras because I thought we were on a candid camera show. So this is nuts. So she decides she's going to write the patent herself. She starts studying things out. And she starts looking through and starts to create. Finally, she gets a call from a manufacturer, says, hey, I've thought about it. I'm going to help you manufacture this product. She says, what made you change your mind? He says, I've got 2 daughters. And I talked with them. They said, Dad, this is genius. You need to do this. You need to help this woman out. So I'm going to help you out. She said this boy was about as southern gets. But she started working with him. So she goes to the manufacturer. They start looking at, and she starts putting together this prototype. She's been working for months and months and months trying to get a manufacturer. She finally gets one. Months and months and months trying to get an attorney. Can't find one at all. She's going to do it herself. She's spending all of her time and effort after her regular job making things happen. Sound familiar to anybody? Putting all this time and effort into it. Goes and meets with the manufacturer. Finds out, I don't know if you guys know this. I know I sure as hell didn't because, surprise, I'd never tried any on. At the time, all pantyhose that were manufactured for women, whether they be small, medium, or large, they all featured the same size waistband. All of them. The exact same size. And they all had some weird elastic, cord inside the band. And she said the way that they would do it is they would put a pair of pantyhose on a dummy in the factory, and a bunch of men standing around with clipboards would go, that looks like a medium. And she said she was standing there with them, and she said, why don't you ask them how it feels? Why don't you ask them how they feel wearing it? And they go, what are you talking about? It's a dummy. She goes, yeah. So when she started manufacturing them, she changed it up so that the smalls had a small waistband and the medium had a medium waistband, the large had a large waistband. What a novel freaking concept. But can we understand why it's important to understand your target audience? And what you guys are doing, understand who you're going out after and creating your message so that it connects with your audience as opposed to the nonsense that you come up with in your own head. So since then, everything that she has created, she has had herself, her mom, her friends, her family members, all of these women test out her product to see how comfortable they are, right? So that's one of the things they did. She said she finally found a patent attorney. She had most of it done by then. She said, all I need are these couple of things. Can you help me with that? The attorney says, yeah, I'll spend time on it over the weekend. I'll charge you $700. We'll put it together. So great. So they had a couple of things that had to be adjusted. He said, hey, I'm not sure about a couple of these things. We need to talk with the manufacturer in order to verify it. So she said, great. I'll get Ted on the phone. It's a good old Southern boy. So get him on the phone. So they're talking about it. What is it that's used? He says, well, it's 70% spandex and about 30% lacquer. And so they go, okay, that's great. And so they're putting it together. And she says she was laying in bed that night going, how is it that my my product, these pantyhose are going to be 70% spandex and 30% lacquer. How is paint thinner going to help this? Like, what is going on? And so she got up in the morning and she called Ted. She said, Ted, explain this to me. What is it? Like, are we talking about the same thing? Can you spell that to me? He says, yeah, I can spell lacquer for you. It's Lycra. Oh, Lycra. Just happened to be so she calls up the attorneys to say, we need to change some things. And it's not actually lacquer, it's Lycra, Lycra. So make sure you change that and before you put it into the patent office. So he got that changed. They get it in the patent office. They get it patented. They start putting things together. She came up with the name. She went through this whole process with the name to do all of that. Launched, got started small, built it up. And then through joint ventures, which is essentially, right? She looked for ways to get the product. She got out in front of an influencer, right? Oprah. She got out, she found some other ways to distribute her product with affiliates, QVC. She found ways to get in front of her market. She understood her market. Who was her market? Women. What were women at the time watching? Oprah. What else are they watching? QVC. At least the market where she was going after, right? A large enough percentage of that population. She understood her niche and her audience. And because of that, she was able to leverage it and grow it. Now, she's never brought on a company like that. A lot of times as they grow, they bring on seed money, funding, right? On a large level. She's never done that. It's always been her. So when she hit the $1 billion, her company's doing $250 million. It's her company. That revenue is hers. It's an absolutely fantastic story. After a while, she ended up, she's also now, if I'm not mistaken, a part owner in the Atlanta Hawks. Her husband is a wealthy entrepreneur himself who, along with that, also has a high-end luxury jet company, a number of other things. His name's Jesse Eitzler, something like that. I'll find his name again, but he's a pretty cool guy. Anyway, she's accomplished all of this simply because she wasn't willing to listen to the no's that she got, because she got a hell of a lot of them. And she found a way to keep pushing through. And she spent a lot of time and a lot of nights and a lot of weekends working on it herself, right? And then found the help where she needed to find the help. She wasn't going to be able to manufacture that herself, so she went and found it, right? Certain things with the legal necessity, she needed someone to be able to do that. But then she did a lot of the other elements. So a couple of cool quotes a couple of other cool elements. One thing that I thought was cool, her branding. This is what she did. This was kind of the standard, right? And had been for 40, 50, 60 years. This is kind of the standard packaging on the left that pantyhose typically had. She decided she didn't want it to look like that. She wanted to show that every woman's body is a little bit different. So she put 3 people on the front, 3 women on the front. She gave it a bright color, which had never really been done. You couldn't see something like that anywhere when you went shopping. It was all this kind of bland, small, medium, large. And she did this. So she helped create this. She had a friend that was a designer. They put it together. They got that going. So here's a couple of cool quotes from Sara when you're talking about your business. It's important to be willing to make mistakes. The worst thing that can happen is you become memorable. Meaning act, understand you won't be perfect in it, get out and be willing to make mistakes. Next, don't be intimidated by what you don't know. That can be your greatest strength, and ensure that you do things differently from everyone else. Now, if there is a formula, work the formula towards success and get help where you need help, but don't be scared if you don't know something, because you can find the answer, you can create the answer. There are things that each and every one of you is capable of doing. Here's one that I liked. It's a little bit longer. Do not solicit feedback on your product, idea, or your business just for validation purposes. You want to tell the people who can help move your idea forward, but if you're just looking to your friend, coworker, husband, or wife for validation, be careful. It can stop a lot of multi-million-dollar ideas in their tracks in the beginning. A lot of you guys are looking for validation on an idea with someone who's got zero experience, zero drive, and is kind of stuck in their own contented little rut in life. And you go, here's something I want to do to break out of the rut that I'm in. And they go, you got to be careful about that. You don't want to push too hard. I don't want to invest any money in it. Well, are you sure you want to put that much time into building something like that? This is why when we talk about the idea of 2X versus 10X, it's so much easier to go after that 10X because you eliminate the validation from people that haven't done it and you seek out people that have and you get leverage. Don't look for validation from people that have no drive behind themselves, no vision, and no clarity on the goals that they want to achieve for themselves beyond getting my next paycheck. It will kill your ideas, your motivation, and your drive. Now, Sara is a fantastic example of someone who was unwilling to give up on her dream, who said, I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to make this work. And she has in a big, big way. And she was told no, and she was laughed out of offices over and over and over again. And here we are with a $1 billion company that's doing $250 million annually, 100 employees, and she's laughing all the way to the bank. Guys, you're sitting on an opportunity for yourselves, and this may just be the genesis. A lot of you guys are planning on more, and we've talked about it. I've talked with a lot of you guys about that. Hey, my next step is going to be this. This is how I want to affect lives. This is how I want to change my community, right? A big part of this is only going to happen. I was having this conversation. I don't know if she's on the call right now. But I was having a conversation with someone earlier about taking that next step in life and overcoming some of these things and understanding, there is a lot of highly successful entrepreneurs. There is some that entrepreneurs in general, there is kind of this overwhelming sense of empathy, like we're doing things because we want to help other people. And then some people are so ego driven and there's a bit of narcissism involved that they can't focus on anybody. And what you really want to do is you want to be somewhere in the middle. And what I mean is you've got to understand that you've got to go after your goals. You have to go after your dreams, that sometimes you need to be a little bit selfish and take control of your decisions in order to be able to help others. If I am emotionally and physically and mentally and financially drained because all I am doing is giving and appeasing others, then I'm never going to be able to help as many as I would normally. Right? And that's a hard thing for a lot of us to hear. When I started spending money, time, and effort on myself instead of solving everybody else's problems, that was difficult. A lot of people that I had, in my life were not happy with that turn of events. I wasn't happy with it. It was excruciating personally to hear people be disappointed in me because I wasn't really doing what they wanted. But after a little bit of time and struggle and effort, I was in a position where I could help many other people. And where those that really wanted to help, instead of me having to give all of my time and effort with your close family, absolutely, guys. I'm not knocking that, but having the funds to be able to solve certain issues personally and help take care of them in different ways that I wasn't before and still have time. Oh, now all of a sudden it's okay. And some people still haven't come around, and that's okay too, because then they weren't really around looking out for my best interest or their own best interest or interest as a relationship. You've got to get to the point where there's not that codependency in life. You're able to be independent in a powerful way. And Sara became independent in a powerful way because she wouldn't take no for an answer, because she trusted in her own efforts, and she got things done. And then when the time was right, she got away from that loser that she mentioned she was dating at the beginning, and she found her own highly successful individual, right? And the way that she met him was kind of cool. This guy had a, private luxury jet company, and she was one of the customers. And she came to a VIP meeting, right? He understood his audience and brought his top customers together. Client councils, if you've got a big company, guys, at some point you want to talk about the power of something like that in the affiliate world. That's a powerful thing. But all of this, understand your own worth. Understand what you're going after and be willing to push into that zone of discomfort, right? Quit being content with life. Push yourself and push harder than you have in the past, and you will achieve some pretty phenomenal things. So on that note, go out, study, learn a little bit, look at where you are, look at what you need to do to take that next step, and then make it happen, ladies and gentlemen. So that's what I got for you. Appreciate you guys being on. I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of Q&A. We'll stop the recording. But if you guys have a little bit of questions, I'll go ahead and take some for a little